Hey, welcome into this edition of the GASOCast. Districts are heating up. Season 4, episode 15. Before we get started, I want to mention our sponsor, Clutch Shots. This episode is brought to you by Clutch Shots, the first ever smart highlight creator. Whether you're an athlete, proud parent, coach, or organization, Clutch Shots AI makes it easy creating pro-quality sports highlights fast and unforgettable. With cutting-edge AI, you can capture, reframe, and make your best moments in seconds, all optimized for social media. Say goodbye to hours of editing and hello to instant eye-catching highlights. Ready to elevate your game? Download the Clutch Shots AI app today to revolutionize your highlights with a 2-week free trial. Let's jump into housekeeping. The Gasso Fast Break. If you are not subscribed and you don't know what's going on in the space, that's on you. Lyndon is been breaking it down. Last week, he gave everybody tags when he did the power rankings of what if they're going to be D1 or D2 in the playoffs. It was very, very helpful, and he's going to continue that. Obviously, we're streaming tons of games, so we're putting a ton of kids on there. So games haven't stopped. Just because tournaments have slowed down, the Gasso crew does not. And then our schedule has been out for a minute. NBA, NCAA, NIT, 8th grade, 7th grade, every event, we're ready for you. We're going to come advocating pretty hard for you. So make sure you come see us. And then lastly, follow us on X and Instagram. And then we got something really special coming up. Mike, take it away.
Yeah, the Gasso Next Gen Showcase, March 2nd, which is a Sunday. I'm super excited about that. It's getting to the point now where some of the alumni that are coming in are now seniors and juniors, and they get their start at Next Gen. There's going to be a lot of surprises this year. I'm really excited. Already have some huge names that have signed up. Today we got Tyler Ruff, one of the best skill trainers in the world. He'll be back for another year with us. My favorite thing about Tyler is I'll talk to him after the event, and he'll just be like, oh, so-and-so, he works really hard. So he's going to get another evaluation to see, as well as us and other media there, to see how hard you're willing to work in those type of environments. So you'll have the 5-on-5, you have the skills training. Just a really exciting time to be a part of Gasso, get to learn us, get to meet us. Recruiting Simplified will be there. Start to figure out recruiting at an earlier age, which is vital in this space. But just one of our favorite events to kick off the Gasso spring season.
Yeah, it's really fun. Tyler Ralph, literally one of the best in the world at what he does, and you get to be a part of that and see him in action. It's special. All right, yeah, we're excited about Next Gen. Let's hop into our first roundtable discussion. We've got two this week, but the first one is, how are you guys approaching the initial 2027 Gasso rankings? You know, this is the first one we drop, and really sets the stage. Blue, I'm going to pass it to you.
This one's always just very carefully going into it because we'll talk about here in a second. There's going to be a lot of guys that we're going to be seeing here within the next couple of weeks of live streaming, trying to make sure that we hit on everybody. And this starts the baseline. This really starts the baseline for the entire class. There's a lot of talking points, obviously, from fans, from us, from spectators from all over the state, and college coaches are really always interested in diving into that first Gasso ranking of the sophomore class, which this year is the 2027. So it's there'll be a lot of discussion, obviously, among us. There'll be a lot of back and forth, and I think that it's is it the most important one? I think they're all important to some people to some degree, but also that baseline really helps even us to start maneuvering guys as we move forward.
Good call. Lennon?
Yeah, just the word that comes to mind whenever we have a initial ranking for a class is that it's a moving target. You're trying to crack the code on that mix of production that they have right now and potential down the road. And so that's what we're all trying to do. The five of us, including Tim, we're trying to figure out, is this guy productive as a sophomore right now, and does that translate to the next level, or are what they doing as a sophomore, something they can only get away with against high school competition? Numbers are numbers, they are what they are, but especially with bigs, you got to talk about how they project long term. And, we're trying to hit that moving target the best we can whenever we break down this initial 2027 ranking.
Yeah, to your point, Lyndon, like production absolutely does matter, but there's also data points on height, length, athleticism, all those other things, and you got to take into account all of those different angles. I am so passionate about not leaving any stone unturned. Like I want to scour the internet, particularly X. I want to find every 2027 who has an opportunity to play at the next level, and that is my goal. Y'all know I'm kind of annoying about it, but I'm like, have y'all seen this guy? Have y'all seen this guy? Have y'all seen this guy? And I see y'all like kind of smirking because it's true, and that's okay. That's just who I am. But that's my goal. I just want to see every kid that and help them realize their dream. So, Mike, why don't you round this one out?
Yeah, basically, I'm just following up on what you all are saying, especially Lyndon. We wait for a reason. We can count and we can make a lot of money if we got $1 for every time somebody said, "When are y'all coming out with your 2027 rankings?"
Yeah.
But we pride ourselves waiting for this long because we want to get as much data as possible. We don't want to see you one time and be like, "Okay, that's what you are." We want to see what that jump looks like from freshmen to sophomores. We want to see what you look like in the setting of summer versus high school. So there's so much that we're looking for. So what I'm excited about is sitting down, and when I look at a player's name, I want to know what that story looks like to me with all the data that we have, because there's going to be plenty of story now with these players because we've waited this long. And I'm really excited because I think we're going to do a very honest job with the data that we have. And that's all we can really say when we put these things live. We can say we've done an honest job with UMass going and trying to find every 2027. Like we just take our time, and it's really, really fun to see. I mean, I'm more excited to see how this thing's going to shake up. We had a talk yesterday on our meeting, and we were already kind of arguing about some really, really big names. And we were like, "Are you serious right now?" So it's just exciting time. This 2027 class is here, and they are rocking right now. So I'm excited to see how the initial ranking shakes up.
Yeah, to your point too. That's why next gen has become so important, Michael. You've incorporated that into the Gasso brand, and it's just so important that we're starting to see these guys in the 8th grade, and we're waiting 2 whole years before we rank them. And that's really really important to the Gasso team, and just trying our best to be an unbiased voice and just go about it with integrity. Rankings are really hard. They're moving. They're like water. They always stay fluid, and that's what we're signing up for is to cover this state. So we're really, really excited about them. Next roundtable, clubs. Club basketball is right around the corner. The Gasso season, as we kind of alluded to earlier, we got the next gen, we got 12 events, and that's not even including the fall tours. But what are some like club team advice when you start go to tryouts, start communicating with these guys? What are we looking to hit on? Lyndon, I'm going to pass it to you to start this one off.
Yeah, I could talk about this until I'm blue in the face, and I do it every time this question topic gets brought up. It's everything that you do in the club space and the grassroots space is about your role. Identifying objectively what you are good at, what you can do that will translate onto the college basketball court at whatever level you aim to play. That is 100% what you should identify when you're trying to pick a team for the club season. If it was me, if I got to go play point guard for a team, I probably don't need to be out there, because that's not my game. It's one of those things. I could do it. It wouldn't be
Big
pretty,
guard.
but
Big
Crab,
guard.
crab dribble all the way up.
but figuring out the team that fits my role, what I do well, what I'm able to succeed at, and shows that to college coaches that can translate. That's what you need to identify from an objective point. Everybody thinks there's a point guard. Everybody thinks that they're the best shooter in the gym, but be real with yourself and be honest. What is a team that you can maximize your exposure and your value to college coaches by playing the role that you can excel at?
Yeah, I'm gonna just piggyback this one. I'm not supposed to go till last, but it just makes too much sense with this point. Go to where you're gonna play. 2027 and younger specifically, just go where you're gonna play a lot and develop. Obviously, just from the recruiting standpoint of all of this, the recruiting hierarchy is a giant log jam. So as you're younger, you just need to focus on getting better and developing. Yes, where you play matters, absolutely, and somebody's going to jump in on that point in a little bit. Make sure you're playing highly competitive events where you are getting a lot of playing time and getting better. That's specifically for you young guys. Michael, your thoughts?
Yeah, for me, I'll try to keep this short, but don't chase the fairy tale. And what I mean by that is a lot of times, um, listen, I think circuits are awesome. I love when Texas kids go to see how good they are against other teams across the country. But at the same time, make sure at the very minimum you're still playing regionally in front of people that know who you are. Oftentimes, you'll have really good role players that will go play on circuit teams, and they'll be the fourth, fifth, sixth guy producing. But in some of these national events, the national media and the national event directors are only looking at national guys. So try to make sure that you maximize your momentum by playing regionally as well, because the regional event directors, I'll say, I mean, us, for example, Mass, how many kids do we have in our scouting service roughly? I mean, I'm putting you on.
Yeah, by the time that by the time a class is their senior year for the 2025, we have over 400 plus for
That
each class.
means
If it's a
that,
special class like
yeah.
2022, we had 500.
So that means when you come to GASO, there's a good chance that if you can play, we know who you are. And sometimes we'll see a lot of these kids have really good summers, but you don't really hear about them just because the platform they're on, that agenda is not pushed for them. So I want you to go play on these big time events against the best competition you can, but make sure when you're choosing a club team, make sure you have some regional events so that you're playing in front of the eyes that really like are advocating for you, which in this is GASO.
Blue, round us out.
Man, there's so many segments we can take from this. I mean, this is hours of talking. I think the one thing that I'm just speaking from experience of just over the last couple of weeks. I mean, you have to research the circuit. I mean, that's some of the biggest advice because and it's so broad. Like, if you're going to go to a particular team, where did the players go last year that signed? If you're playing all over the country and out in the Northeast and California and in the Midwest, where are your scholarship offers in your peers, where your teammates, where are their scholarships coming from? And this is something I'm going to dive into later to try to get some data points here. But I guarantee you a lot of them are coming regionally. They're coming from the Gasos and other local tournaments when you're staying in state. You have to do the math. You have to dive in and don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, this is such a long game in terms of when it comes to finances into your calendar from March through July. There's so many different directions that we can go here with these talking points, but I think a lot of it has to come from the parents and the players of researching the team, researching the past history of the team, where have the players gone from those particular tournaments. If you see that somebody has gone regionally, trace back to when maybe they played in something local in the state of Texas, and probably that's where you saw those colleges coming, was to those in-state tournaments, and that's where the bulk of your recruitment is going to come from.
Yeah, and if on Thursday, me and Blue are going to do a 10-minute episode of a couple of hoops, and we're going to be talking about a lot of this stuff as well, and kind of hitting more on the nuance and getting a little bit deeper. So make sure you're tuning in for that. But
And I'll
yeah,
say
go
real
ahead.
quick, like, because I know all three of y'all, when y'all saw what I wrote on the rundown, y'all didn't know if it was gonna get sideways from me from a perspective of talking crazy. But when I say like playing regionally, and I'm always gonna like, we don't do enough of promoting Gasso because we're just not the most brash people. But when I'm saying like regionally, that means like the amount of when I have 50 to 60 media people signing up to come to Gasso, and we always say we're approving all of them, that's another 50 to 60 regional eyes that, like we talk about, they probably know more of the Texas players as well. So it's not just playing in an event with so all four of us can watch. It's playing when all these media members collectively, you have a chance where your name and your agenda can get pushed a little bit more. So
Yeah, it's one of the best parts of the event. Like, we know the same guys that come to our event every single week, and we're so thankful for those guys, and they do a great job pushing players as well. So it's a
yeah.
collective effort here, and in the high school scene specifically, we have a great media as a whole. So let's talk players. Michael, Celsius boys. Who's a Celsius guy on a stream? Look at that. Get us a
Hey, don't give
sponsor.
it too much time. Put it down. Put it down. Put it down.
we did this at like 10 o'clock, I'd be daring you to drink that. But who is a
I'm
Celsius guy on a stream lately? Michael, I'm going to pass it to you first.
Yeah, this is just me going out on a limb because tonight I'm streaming Antonian versus St. Michael's, and Amari Guerrera, San Antonio Antonian. He might be the logo for Celsius boys. But I know that our private school rankings are coming out soon, so I know, and tonight's matchup, I think these two teams are pretty high. I just expect Amari to put on a show, win, lose, or draw. But like I've talked about previously, his decision making, his leadership, he's starting to put all the tools together to be a really high level point guard, regardless of the size that some want to talk about. He's being undeniable, and oftentimes being undeniable means you're a Celsius guy. So I'm looking forward to streaming that game tonight, and I already know that if y'all ask me who is your stream of the night tomorrow, there's a good chance it's going to be Amari. So want to shout him out as I look forward to a really, really fun night of hoops in San Antonio.
I like the that hasn't happened yet Celsius guy. That's good. Blue, who's your guy?
It's bold.
Well, after this weekend, Christian Smith, 2027 out of Randall in Amarillo, he goes for 50 points. I mean, that's not going to wake you up. There's not too much but he's a guy that went out and just watching the film. I mean, he's hitting step back threes. He's hitting threes off the catch. He's getting to the basket. He was 9 for 13 from threes. He was 10 for 10 from inside the arc. And this is the kind of a performance that you talk about, and that you have to acknowledge that this guy's going to, any given night now, he's going to go off. He has that ability. And so head coach Trevor Johnson's just so pumped that he kind of had his a breakout game. He was waiting for something big, and I don't know if he was expecting 50, but against Hereford, they go out and put up 126 points. Now, they gave up 90, so it was a high-scoring game, but Christian Smith, Lyndon and I sat back and watched him a few games back in September, and man, it's a nice way to really get his game going.
God, what it must be like to go 19 of 24 from the field. Like oh my gosh. Lyndon, who's your guy?
Yeah, I'm going to stick in 4A Region 1 with another guy who had a pretty loud statement over the weekend, and that's Aiden White out of Burke Burnett. This district is really fun. We could have talked about them in our later segment, breaking down districts, where you got Crum, Decatur, Burke Burnett. We both saw Decatur at the CBI, me and Michael, and they can score with anybody. But when Aiden White goes out there, he's knocking down shots from all over the place. 29 points in a road win over Decatur and their firepower that they can trot out there. Kind of a statement to kind of announce themselves as one of those teams in 4A Region 1 that can make a whole lot of noise to come in the postseason.
Yeah,
I don't think I saw Aiden White miss a shot on Gasso with GPS last summer. By the way, it's a real bucket from 3 different levels, like turnaround, mid range fadeaways and stuff like that. I'm not surprised by this. That's a
he
bad
had
boy.
1,000 points in like November last year as a sophomore.
He had 1,000 points. He had 1,000 points at a Gasso. I think. I don't know.
Dude, he's nice. I'm gonna go with Drew Reddick. I watched Dallas Skyline yesterday. Tough, athletic, scores around the rim constantly. Has some guard skills, but 6'4", just like small forward, can play a bunch of different positions. He's tough, and this guy was loud. I mean, he was the top of the press, getting layups, and he would go at bigger guys, go through them, lay the ball up. I was very impressed. A name I wasn't familiar with, but I put him in the scouting service in a hurry. Drew Reddick, 2026 Dallas Skyline. Really, really fun watch, and I'm interested to see him this summer. So Celsius guys, when guys pop off the screen, it's really fun. This is a great next segment. Hard hat guys, glue guys, do it all guys, just get it done guys. Who is that for you, Michael?
I'm going down to San Antonio. Zaire Williams of East Central, currently second in one of those districts we love to talk about at 4-1. But he's just like a walking double-double. Every time I'm scrolling through X, it's 19 and 14. It's 20 and 15, 5 assists. Just one of those guys where you're senior and the bulk of the offense runs through him in a high-level district. He knows that he can't just go score 20. He's going to have to go get those 14, 15 rebounds. And a lot of them are in crunch time to win big-time games. So I'm going to shout out Zaire down in San Antonio East Central.
Love it. Lyndon?
Yeah, I'm going with Travion Hall out of Dallas Seagoville. Another Gasso guy who can light up the stat sheet with Deo over the summer. and he's continued that into his senior year. This guy is, I mean, he does everything. He's a slasher. He can shoot from three. I mean, he's a nightmare to guard in transition. He's super athletic, and he's a guy that a lot of people need to be getting a second or third look at because he just produces. I don't think I've ever seen a game of his where he hasn't been, 20 points, handful of assists, rebounds, steals. He can do it all.
Yeah, I'll hop in here with Christian Cox. All of our guys obviously fit this mold of like, we'll just take them on our team and figure out the rest. But Christian is just like that in an age where, like everyone wants to be the show. Christian just competes. He's like 6'2", 6'3", and he's like the biggest dude on Frisco Independence. And this team is really good, really fun, really well coached. And he's guarding. I saw him play Anna, and he's having a time. He's struggling with Foon over there, 6'9", and this guy's battling for every rebound, and then he's stretching guys out to the perimeter. He has a great first step. He just does a lot on the floor, and I love guys that are just like, hey, I'm going to put the team before my needs, and it's just going to show how good I am, no matter what I'm doing. And Christian's one of those guys. Blue, why don't you round us out here?
Yeah, Dylan Baker over at Friendswood. I know that Lyndon's going to touch on the district here in a second, but Friendswood wouldn't be 21-4 and 4-1 in district without him. I mean, he's there. Yeah, we all know about Chase Richardson and what he's going to bring every night when he's healthy, but Dylan is the guy that's going to pop you in the mouth. I mean, he'll go for a double-double pretty quickly. I mean, he's going to go inside, and even at 6'3", maybe pushing 6'4", he's going to handle the ball like a point guard. He's going to get loose out on the perimeter, knock down shots. He'll play with his back to the basket a little bit just because he knows that he can go inside and beat some other guards. I mean, this guy just does everything for Danny Russell that he brings to the table to win. They need him on a daily basis. If he doesn't show up one game, where are you going to make up those points? And I think that he has contributed to a lot of their success over the last 2 years.
Absolutely. Let's go team talk. Keep an eye on this district. We love this. We're trying to make this a staple. We're going to literally talk about every district in Texas, I guess, by the end. But it'll be fun. Michael, tip us off.
Yeah, how about District 9 5A? I was scrolling through there, and right now there's 4 teams tied for first place at 4-1. And when you look, there's something a little different about all of them. Melissa, they got thrown into a non-district gauntlet. Pretty much it was when you have an Austin Gooseby, that show's going to go on the road and play some high level teams, but their overall record's 12-11. They're 4-1 though. It's sitting at the top of the district. Battle tested is the first thing I looked at there. Then you have Lovejoy at 4-1. They've won 6 in a row. So look out for them. Maybe the hottest team in the district right now, with dudes all over there. Walnut Grove, you're looking at them. They've outscored the second highest team in the district by over 150 points. They're putting up a lot of points. And then Denison right there, 18-4. All they do is win right now. And all 4 of those teams are 4-1. You have Anna at 2-3 right behind them. But when you're looking at every week, we get closer and closer to playoffs. So everything ratchets up a little bit. And you have 4 teams right now at 4-1, which that's what you're looking for in a district race. So
yeah, a lot of skins on that wall too, of just like all of those teams have played a lot of really good teams too. So it's going to make for a pretty wild ending, I would say. Lennon, who's that district that's standing out for you right now?
Yeah, and Blue mentioned one of the players from here, and that's 25A. You got 3 teams with 1 loss at the top. Friendswood and Iowa Colony have been in the teen range of our rankings, I think between 11 and 15 for most of the year. And, they played Friday night. Friendswood pulled that one out. But, right before that, they got upset by Angleton with their freshman Bryson Campbell making a lot of noise this year. LaPorte's also down there. And I got to say, LaPorte's one of those teams. I saw them at the McDonald's back in November. And they are what you consider a dangerous sleeper because they are always going to just compete. They've got a lot of dudes that can get out there and make life difficult on you. So 25A, I think, is going to be one of those that you just have to pay attention to in the regional scene in Region 3-5A.
Yeah, I can't believe we're 2 weeks into doing this, and we haven't hit on 11-6A. So, that's the DeVille, Lancaster, Mesquite Horn, DeSoto, Waxahachie, Cedar Hill, Dallas Skyline, Mesquite. There's talent all over the court for every single team. And too bad only 4 teams are going to get to go to the dance from this thing. Blue, round us out.
21-6A over in Fort Bend. Fort Bend Travis, they're undefeated right now, but they still haven't played the top of that district, which would be Ridge Point, who's sitting at 4-1. But when you kind of dig deep a little bit here with Travis, Ridge Point, Fort Bend Bush, Clements, those two actually play each other tonight. Bush and Clements, they're both sitting at Bush is sitting at 3-2, Clements at 2-3, and then you have Fort Bend Austin, who we've all seen at one point or another this year, that they can go out and they can play you fast, and they can also slow it down and just kind of play some smash mouth basketball. Whereas we don't know what 4 is going to make this playoffs once we once the smoke clears. But there's a lot of guys on here on these teams that where you're going to find we beat them, they beat us. There's going to be a fight, I really believe, at that 3 and 4 spot, and it's already starting to show.
Yep, that's good. Let's round this episode out with our favorite segment, Recruit Him. Who is a guy that college coaches need to have their eye on, and you want to just splash a little advocation their way? Michael, who's that for you?
Yeah, Josiah Holloman, San Marcos, 6'5" right away. I mean, there you go. If I just said, hey, there's a guy down in San Marcos that can play at 6'5", boom. But he's physical, he's productive. He just hit 1,500 points. And the coolest thing about San Marcos that I like this year is they have a charge wall. And guess who's all over the charge wall? It's a 1,500 point scorer in Josiah Holloman. So when you have a guy that can put the ball in the baskets, physical, he just checks so many boxes as a senior. So yeah, give me Josiah Holloman, the 1,500 point scorer that can take a lot of charges.
Love it. Winner, baby. Winner. Lyndon?
Yeah, I'm going to cheat again and pick 2 sets of teammates. Zach Wells and Mason Donovan from Koontz. Number 1 team in 3A. I streamed them last Friday. 25-point win over East Chambers, who's also in the top 15 in TABC's rankings. These guys, they can score any way you want. They're truly a dynamic backcourt duo. Mason had the hot hand. I think he went for 33, and then Zach had 18. But both of these guys can play. And then staying down in that direction, Stafford, a team that's number 3 in our 4A rankings, and their front court, Skylar Holt, 2025, a guy that we're familiar with, a long, slashing, athletic wing type. And then Damian Young. I mean, this guy you need to get eyes on soon. He's 6'10". He can run the floor. He's dominant inside, and he's powerful around the rim. There's a reason that Stafford is one of the biggest threats to win a state title in 4A this postseason.
Love it. I'm going to go with William Malumba, Houston PSAT. It was the first time I got to see him last week at the iSchool prep event. He's a 2026, and he'll definitely be debuting in the next rendition of the 2026 rankings. He's an inside-out presence. Has a high motor. He can help a lot of programs out. I saw him shoot it, really nice looking stroke. And then I got down there. I retweeted it yesterday, but he put someone in the rim, and it was a very, very impressive dunk. But a powerful kid with a lot of athleticism, slashing ability, one of those 4 3s, 3 4s, depending on the matchup. But a kid that college coaches need to know about, and he made a statement in front of me. Blue, why don't you round us out, and we'll call it a day here.
Hey, Trent Bowers from Birdville. Birdville's sitting at 24-1. I mean, he's averaging 18 points a game, 4 assists, 2 steals. He's hitting 52% from the field, 42 from the arc, and then 81 from the free throw lines. His splits, just by looking at his splits, I mean that shows you a lot. This how dependable he is on a nightly basis, and there's others on that team that are helping. But right now, advocating for him as a 2025, I think is very important that the college coaches start recognizing his ability to go knock down shots and really play hard and be a winner.
Love it. Hey, guys, thanks for being with us here. If you're not subscribed to the Gasso Fast Break, I suggest you do. Also, make sure you're following us on all of our channels, X, Instagram, and wherever you consume your basketball content. We are probably there, but that's going to do it for today, this episode of the GASOcast, and we will see you next time.